Hello, my door-to-door family. We want to continue our session on our 5 S's of an effective life coach. So tune in as we be able to look at a simple method how to socialize better. Tune in. All right, so here we go. The 5 S's of an effective life coach, right? So first one, we talked about being spirit-filled. Remember the last time we talked about in order to be able to be an effective witness for Christ, we got to be spirit-filled. We talked about that the last session. In this session, we want to talk about how to socialize, how to be able to communicate to people, interact with people on a better level in Christ. We will talk about how to sympathize. Yes, we will talk about how to serve. Yes, we will talk about how to lead a person to salvation in Christ. But today, we want to zone in into talking about how to be able to socialize in a better way in Jesus. So here we go. We want to teach you a simple method called the Fort method. I learned this a few years ago by Pastor Wilkie. I learned it some more when I went into the National Association for the Prevention of Starvation. And sometimes I use it also when I am having a difficulty talking to some people. So it's very good. It's very good for a lifetime. It's recommended that you use this also. It's just a simple method for you. You don't have to use it. There are other methods of communication or how to be able to get a person talking and so forth. And you can use those also. But I'm recommending this Fort method. This is an acronym, F-O-R-T. I guess you maybe have already been guessing what does F stand for, but F stands for family. And so when you go to the door, what you will do is basically ask the person, not so much in the winter time, but when you have a point, you have a visitation, you're in the house with a person, or you meet the person on the street. These are conversational starters, right? And so the F stands for family. And so what you would do is you would ask the person, like, how is your family doing today? And they will be talking, oh, my family is doing well, not too bad, and so forth. And you'll ask them about different things about their family. Is their family in town here? And how many is your family members living with you in the house? Is your family member living in a different state? Stuff like those. You ask general questions about the person's family, and you will get a variety of information. But this information is not just information that to forget. You have to keep in mind what the person is saying, because the next time when you come, you want to say, how is your mom Carrie doing? You want to call that person's mother by name or that person's father, and they will be like, wow, she remembered my mom's name. This shows that you're interested and you're listening to the person, right? So we're developing socializing skills. So you ask them about their family, general question, pay attention. You want to learn about the person. You want to get to know the person better. You want to build a relationship with the person, right? So the next one is occupation. So what you would ask about the person, about their occupation, you ask them, so while you're living here, do you have a job that you're working? Are you looking for a job? Stuff like those. You want to know about their career, what they did before. Are they doing their career that they have studied before here? If they did not study, what are they doing currently? Are they looking for something better? You ask them a variety of questions about their occupation. And these are conversational starters, and you're listening. And so in these times, they will tell you that, oh, I work at Walmart, or I work at Burlington, or I work at wherever. And you're listening, and sometimes they will tell you, yeah, I work there, and I work in the daytimes, or I work on the weekends, and I work 2 jobs or 3 jobs or 1 job for now, or I don't work at all. These are important information because you're gathering information for future references also, and just primarily to get to know the person, because when the person sees that you're paying interest, you're taking interest in to get to know them, they will want to open up more. You want to be friends with the person so they can open up more to you. All right, and so pay attention to these. All right, next one is religion. So you can ask them about religion or recreation. What do they do on the weekends? What are their favorite sports or so forth? What do they do for recreation? You can ask them about what was their religious background like. They will say, man, I grew up as a church of God in Christ, or I grew up as a Pentecostal or so forth. My mom grew me up in the church, and I fell off a little bit, but yeah, I'm seeking the Lord. You're getting a lot of information. You're figuring out if this person is a ripe fruit or green fruit. Sometimes just one simple question will open up a variety and a vast amount of information that you even wasn't looking for, but they granted it unto you because of the way you asked that question, right? So pay attention as these people are speaking to you and as you ask these questions. And the last one is testimony, right? So testimony, you want to ask them about for them to share a testimony with you, how Christ has been good to them, how Christ has blessed them, or how Christ has blessed their family members as they were growing up. How have they seen the power of Jesus? You want to figure out, where has Christ been working in these people's life? How has Christ been active in their lives before? Do they recognize that Christ is active in their lives? You want to figure out these things, right? And if they say, man, I don't feel like sharing, or I do not have a testimony, then right there, bam, you go and you pull out a testimony out of your pocket and you start to share, and you say something like, man, based upon their family, based upon what they said about their family, based upon what they said about their occupation, based upon what they said about religion, this is how you're thinking about your testimony also, because you want to match your testimony what was gathered. So say, for instance, they said something about their family. Man, I don't have any family here. I've lost my mom. I've lost my dad. And I'm just here by myself struggling. You want to pull out a testimony, whether yours or someone else. It would be nice if it's yours. You pull out a testimony, if you do have it, about a family member. If you have lost someone close to you, you show them or tell them how Christ comforted you when you were going through your loneliness also. You could have lost a loved one, lost someone that you loved in a relationship. You share that testimony and it matches what they're going through. And then you leave them with hope. You have left them now with encouragement. They feel like, man, I want this person back in my home, because when they left, they did not pull me down, but they lifted me up. And so you want to leave that impression with the person. So listen very, very carefully as you are doing these sessions, as you're asking these questions. All right. So that's the fourth method. That's the fourth method in how to socialize, how to ask questions, how to get to know a person better while socializing. All right. All right. So now some tips on socializing. I want to give you some tips on socializing. Here we go. You want to practice asking open-ended questions. What do I mean by that? There's a way to ask open-ended questions, and there's a way to ask closed-ended questions. Most people, when they're gathering information, they go towards asking open-ended question, because you want the person to talk back to you. And this will take practice, of course. So don't feel bad if you always been asking close-ended questions. But over time, as we go door to door, we want to start practicing open-ended questions. And so let me give you some examples, right? Let me give you some examples. Here we go, of close-ended questions. So one is, do you own this house? If I ask the person, do you own this house? The simple response is, yes, I own this house, right? And so it's a close-ended answer that you're receiving when you ask a close-ended question. So here's an example now of an open-ended question. It is like, what is it like to be living in Benton Harbor? What is it like? Now now that question now is open. It's not specific for a specific answer like yes or no. You want the person to be talking. So they will be like, man, living in Benton Harbor here is rough. It's bad, or it's great. I love it. Either one. And so they will be spitting out information. Man, I grew up here all my life, so I really love it. You don't know where they will go with the conversation. But by asking open-ended questions, you're getting back open-ended answers. A lot of information, right? All right, another example, closed-ended question. Did you like growing up here? Is going to be yes or no. Yes, I like growing up here. Not too bad. Just a phrase or a sentence they will be replying when you ask those questions. Open-ended question, what is your favorite childhood experience? So instead of asking them, did you like growing up here? And then you receive a close-ended answer, ask something like, what is your favorite childhood experience? Now they want to talk about, man, I remember when I was living right here in Benton Harbor, but further down the street, I went through this and bam, that was my favorite experience. And so they'll tell you a vast amount of information when you're asking open-ended questions, right? So listen to this video right here and see how this person asks a closed-ended question and the person also asks the open-ended question. Hope you can figure out when was it closed, when was it open. Here we go.
Are you gonna play?
No.
Well, is everything okay?
I'm just really worried because my mom is getting tested for cancer tomorrow.
Oh.
All right, so the first question was closed-ended. She received a closed-ended response. It was like, are you going to play? No, not going to play. Or maybe another person would say, yes, I want to play. Or no, but it's yes or no, they're getting back. Because the question was closed-ended. The second question, though, is like this. Is everything okay? Everything okay with you or so forth? I mean, kind of closed, but in a sense, it's definitely a little bit more open-ended question. And so therefore, she got an open-ended question. Now she started to learn about her mom having cancer and so forth and why she does not really want to play. And so try to formulate the question to be open so you can pull out what is in the person's soul. That is the better way to go when socializing, right? All right, so now some tips on socializing. Let me give you some tips on socializing. Now, listening is very, very, very important when you're socializing. Here are some general tips. Just ensure that you're having eye contact. In this culture in America, people like to have eye contact. Some cultures, whether in different parts in Africa and different parts in sometimes Caribbean cultures, you might have where the people do not like you to be looking in their eyes, are staring in their eyes or looking in their eyes for a long time, always looking at them. So some people are like, no, I don't want that. But in America, people look at your eyes and see if you're sincere, if you're trustworthy, if you're truthful, if you're honest. And this also helps to let the person know that you're here with them. You are in the conversation, you're right there with them, you're going through this process with them, and you want to listen. You want to hear what they're saying. So this is one thing that we want to practice as we go door to door, as we go to house visitations, to ensure that we have eye contact to the person. The next thing is do not try to have your hands folded. Like you're listening and you always have your hands folded. This sometimes make the person want not to give you a lot of information. But if you're open, you're more relaxed, you're more like you really want to listen, or you sit a little forward, like, man, talk to me. I want to hear what you're saying, more so than, fold. You push back, like, man, not really interested, not really trying to pay attention. I wish this thing could be over, or so forth. No, we don't want to give that impression. And so try to have your hands on your legs or something that is not closed, all right? So just pay attention to those. Facial expressions also, pay attention to your facial expression, like the lady in the video there. If you had watched it all together, literally her facial expression showed no sympathy at all, And so if someone shares a sad story or a sad testimony, when you ask them about when you follow the Fort method, ensure that your facial expression is one that matches to what they said. So if they were telling a joke, laugh. If they were telling a sad story, do not laugh. Show sympathy. Show expressions that you care. So beware of your facial expressions. It tells a lot. And then when a person says something, for instance, they said a long story, you can also make statements. So repeat the statement. So like, am I hearing you? You're saying, so you say a statement like this. So you're saying that when you were growing up, it was a difficult life, right? And so, bam, you're restating, or should I have said, restating what the person did say. And so this helped to let the person know that you're hearing, you're listening, you are right here with them, you're summarizing what they're saying. And this is not like a monologue, it's more of a dialogue, and they know that you are there with them. So here are some summaries. So build relationships before you give Bible study. This is the whole idea in socializing. We want you at Harbor of Hope to be able to focus on building relationships. Building relationships. That's what Christ did in Luke 15, was building relationships, mingling with publicans and sinners. So we want to practice that in ministering door to door, building relationships first before giving Bible studies. All right, so the next steps now, while we go out door to door team, here what we want to do. We know that we don't have everything fully in place, but in an ideal situation, these are the things that we want to follow. This is where we want to get to. This is where we're heading by God's grace. So as we go to door, we would now, first thing, we would have a riser program, and we would want to invite those people to that riser program. So those are one benefit we want to give to the community, having a program to let them rise up in Christ. And so this riser program will help them holistically. And so we want to invite them now to that program. And then after that, we want to set up a visitation. So when they come to the program, now we would set up a visitation. Can I visit you this week? And the purpose of the visitation is to get to know them, to build more relationship. So now you would ask them about the Fort method. You would set up the visitation now just to do that, to get to know them and to pray with them. One of the things that we have been doing so far is setting up visitations just to pray, just to get a bridge into their homes. And once we get into their homes, that's a deal breaker. Bam, that's a stepping stone. That's a big deal to get into the home. And so now set up a visitation. Now we're applying the Fort method, and then we invite them to small group. That would be the next step. We want to invite them to small group. So starting very soon, our small group is going to be up and running. And now as we're visiting, we're saying, hey, our small group will be starting up in such and such a time, and I would love to pick you up. So your team members, you guys would arrange to pick up this person to come to this small group. And as they come, notice that we're not inviting them to church as yet, unless they ask to come to church, to pick me up to come to church. We don't want to push that yet. We want to invite them to the small group. And as they meet some of the church members and as they mingle and laugh, now they have more friends. So when they come now to church, they already have a lot of friends, so they feel more comfortable, all right? And so the last thing, we invite them to your house. When we invite them to the small group, yes, we invite them to the small group, but we want to also invite them to your house to have a meal, to eat with you and your family, and now they feel a part of a body of believer without even coming to the church as yet, if you understand. All right, so by God's grace, my friends, these are some tips on socializing, and I pray that you were blessed, and hopefully we will be able to practice this as we socialize with people door to door. God bless you. Look forward to the next session coming up soon. God bless.